This is Robert Reagan about to read Overwhelming Love Feeling. Like She Escapes Me and The Happiest Ending Ever. This one kind of hurt to write. But, that's the way I just have to exercise those things that hurt me. Anyway, Overwhelming Love Feeling. Ronald and Allison were mad poets. Mad as insane. And they were once madly in love. But not in the beginning. It took some time to get there. Once that time came, it didn't take Ronald long to destroy it. He's supposed to be over this by now, yet sometimes old memories creep back in, bringing with them that overwhelming love feeling. It all started just after Ronald was first introduced to poetry. None of his friends cared about it, leaving him no one to share his writing with. On top of this, he was lonely. All of his friends had someone to love, and Ronald's loneliness left him feeling so hollow inside. One of his friends, Danny, had started talking to someone named Allison. Ronald agreed to drive to pick her up for him. When he seen Danny with her, immediately he became jealous. Allison was beautiful, with blue diamond eyes and a smile that outshined the sun. Her light brown hair hung down straight past her shoulders. In blue jeans and a tight t-shirt, Allison was thick in all the right places. Her and Danny rode in the back. Driving, Ronald kept looking at them in the rearview mirror. It hurt, but he couldn't stop. So bad he wished she was up front riding next to him in the passenger seat. They would listen to music while holding each other's hand, but that wasn't meant to be. However, later on that night they did end up talking. Ronald fell for Allison when he first saw her. After hearing that she liked poetry and even sometimes wrote herself, Ronald fell further, too far for comfort. The two of them became almost like best friends. Other than writing, they also had other things in common. One thing in particular was cutting. Then it seemed cool between them to heal their emotional pain that way. Ronald had this emotional pain that she never knew about. It was his love for her. Burning inside him was this intense longing. No matter how close they were, she was still Danny's girl. He was the one she slept with. Drunk and stressing over her at a New Year's Eve party, Ronald cock-blocked Danny by opening the bedroom door and stumbling in as he had sex with Allison. After that, things got weird. Ronald hated it when they went their separate ways, feeling like he'd never find anyone like her ever again. Throughout his life, he never has. But somehow they found each other again. Only the next time she had a baby. Ronald had one on the way himself with someone who also knew Allison. He was very much in love with Chrissy, but becoming reacquainted with his unrequited love, all those old feelings were reborn. Only this time Allison was single, a single mother who put her daughter first, but found herself lonely. All she had to do was express interest. Ronald didn't want to hurt Chrissy, but he just couldn't pass up his chance with Allison. They finally got together, but it wasn't the way either of them wanted it. Dark clouds ruled the sky over their relationship. Allison was all his, but he wasn't all hers. Eventually Chrissy found out, and Ronald had to choose. Feeling trapped, he chose Chrissy only because she was supposed to have his daughter. When she split and took their little girl, Ronald knew he'd made the wrong choice. Part of it was letting Allison go because she needed a man who loved her and only her. Ronald became that man again, only too late, with Allison long gone again. He found her once more, but this time had to be it. Ronald knew he'd never see her again. Over the years, he found love again at different times. Eventually, he got someone else pregnant. This time, he had a son. Ronald wanted a happy little family this time. He never wanted to lose his son the same way he lost his daughter. But his little boy's mama ended up splitting the same way. Suffering emotionally, Ronald went back to drugs and alcohol as well as razor blades to try and stop his pain. None of it worked. All it did was get him in all it did was get him in trouble with the law. Getting out of jail, he was put on probation. Around that time, he ended up getting on MySpace. It was a new way for him to share his poetry. He was happy when Allison accepted his friend request. Right away, she read his poems and posted comments. In turn, he was delighted to see the ones she'd written too. For Allison, writing had become like a part-time hobby that she loved. With work and still raising her daughter alone, she had no time for it. Ronald, thinking he was better than what he really was, thought someday he could make it as a writer. This would be hard with all his mistakes. True, he said things that were okay. Allison wrote good pieces, plus they were grammatically correct and without misspelled words. If she didn't think she had what it took to make it, then how could Ronald believe this about himself? He was just thrilled to be in contact with her again. They were just friends, the same as in the beginning. Still seeing her pics on the screen took him back to kissing her with his hand up her skirt. During their fling, they'd never made love. It was something else from that time that filled him with regret. Probation officers were bound to come at any time. With his urine dirty, sorry, I'm fucked this whole shit up. It was something else from that time that filled him with regret. Probation officers were bound to come by at any time. With his urine dirty a third straight time, they would put him in the cuffs on the spot. Going on the run after skipping his visit, Ronald hung out with poets doing open mic. Checking his MySpace, he gets an instant message from Allison. She tells him that she'd like to talk to him and leaves her phone number. Dropping what he was doing, he called right then and there. The sound of her voice on the phone filled him with happiness. He explained his legal troubles, and Allison had him wishing he could run forever. They ended up having a lot of late-night talks. Sometimes these talks got steamy. Ronald was ecstatic over just having phone sex with Allison. Things seemed to be getting serious, but he refused to take it seriously until that one night when she said she was coming to get him. Switching up his hideouts, Ronald was staying at his sister's house. Allison came and got him, but everything seemed awkward. When she dropped him off, he was scared she would never call him again, but she did. They ended up seeing each other again, too. Both of them deciding with no one else in the picture that it was finally their time. Only there was still a black cloud hovering over them, with Ronald bound to get locked up at any time. He wondered if she'd wait for him while he was trapped in a cage. When they talked about it, Allison said she'd be there for him. "I won't hurt you," she said. "You got nothing to worry about." They tried to make love for the first time, only Ronald was so nervous he couldn't keep it up. Before trying again, he stole Viagra to make sure it didn't happen. It wasn't how either of them pictured it. Ronald decided to turn himself in on a Monday so he and Allison could spend one last weekend together. She didn't do drugs, but spent money so Ronald could get high before having to go to prison. They had sex one last time, but something still wasn't right. She dropped him off at the probation office that muggy Monday morning. Before he got out of her car, with tears in those blue diamond eyes, she said, "I love you." Ronald said it back, and it was the first time either of them ever said it. While he was locked up, she wrote him letters along with poetry almost every day. She also put money on Paytel so they could hear each other's voice at least once a day. Allison also sent him money. She treated him so good that he couldn't wait to get out and be with her again. Asleep and having a dream, he was back with Allison. She sat on her back steps with her hair wet, wearing nothing but a towel. The dream wasn't sexual. It was romantic and epic, so intense that his longing for her nearly made him cry once he woke up. After months apart, his release date finally arrived. He was standing with some of his friends he made in prison, waiting for the gates to open. When they did, Allison was standing outside those gates in a short, hot pink dress, cut low in the front, showing off her firm, middle-sized breast. Ronald's friends made their cat calls, saying, "Damn, man, you going back to that?" Taking his hand, Allison led him to her car. She even opened the door for him. Riding, he couldn't help but stare at her sexy tan legs. When they got to her place, where she was letting him move in, Ronald knew it was officially their time. The sun was bright, there were no dark clouds, and this time nothing or no one could keep them apart. Pushing her down on the bed, Ronald reached, pulling up that hot pink dress. Easing in slow, once he was inside, he pounded it. When it was over, Allison's face glowed. "What's that smile for?" he asked her. That night while she slept, he sat watching her and wrote a poem called "What's That Smile For?" She took him to get his children. Their daughters had sleepovers. Everything was going fine. Sex was incredible. Ronald, who had to stop using, found a new addiction in Allison's body. Multiple times during the night, they would feed off of the lust made from their love. When things settled down, Allison wasn't into making love that much anymore. Addicted to the way she felt, Ronald would go into a rage anytime she said no. It caused so many problems between them, bringing the black clouds back. Around that time, in anger, Allison confessed that she'd been texting someone while he was locked up. Did that mean she'd been playing him for a fool the whole time? His jealousy and insecurity made him want her more. With them fighting, she refused, and laying there, he was so upset that he couldn't sleep. Ronald wouldn't let her sleep either, calling her a whore, saying, "I bet you never told this other guy no." Sick and tired, she rolled over flat on her back. "I don't want to," she said, "but do whatever you want." Of course, Ronald climbed on top. He didn't know she was testing him. The next morning, she said, "This just isn't going to work anymore." Like that, one of the happiest times of his life came to an end. If he just held her that night, maybe she would have never left him. All she wanted was love. Over the years, she found that love. Allison was successful at doing good in life. She never wrote anymore because it meant she'd remember Ronald, who over the years never forgot about her. He stepped up from poetry to fiction, but it didn't matter because no one believed in him anymore. Ever since Allison, he'd been all alone, so sick for not realizing how good he had it when she used to love him. He goes on, not knowing what to think. All Ronald knows is that he's never fell in love again ever since then. She was the last person he ever loved. Okay, thank you.